we're expecting within the next 20 or 30 minutes, the president to come out on Hurricane Irene. I don't know what you think, but I predict he's going to be against it. I think he's... It's the weekend. The gang is here. Gang of four. We'll kick around the big stories of the morning and the week on News Talk 550 KTSA. Let's meet the gang real quick. Sylvia Rincon is the ace reporter. She's the Brenda Starr of Fox San Antonio. Very excited about their new set and their new HD cameras.
We do have HD cameras
and
now.
I want to say though,
see every flaw in my face.
Listen, I've known Sylvia since she worked here, so she's always been HD to me. But thanks for coming back in. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Just got back from a vacation, much needed. I went, actually, brace yourself. Yeah. Don't freak out. I went to Mexico.
Okay. People still do that. Yeah, you're back. You're okay.
Unharmed.
Good for you.
Didn't see a shooting or anything.
Do you think it's exaggerated, all of the...
Well, I don't know. I went to Cancun, which is probably one of the safest places.
Yeah. Stayed in the tourist section.
It's because it's the most expensive.
There you go.
Hamburgers in Cancun are $10.
And who would,
I don't know if you
and who would mess with her anyway, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, Sylvia's here today. Continuing our TV theme, Joe Reinagel, the sports director from Ken's 5, also a former KTSA guy from back in the day. Joe, good to see you again.
Good to see you, Jack. Thanks for having me.
What's new in sports these days? I heard the Yankees hit 3 grand slams last night.
Yeah, they did, which is pretty amazing.
High school football is back.
Football kicked off last night, but big
Makes
night
it a lot busier for you, right?
It does. Really, plus UTSA, next week, and we're involved with that as well. So yeah, it's a fun time of year.
All right, so Joe's up to working like 4 or 5 days a week.
No, actually about 5 hours a day. I mean, it's just crazy.
I'm just kidding. No, but it's cool to have Joe and Sylvia back in the building. And Mario, we feel like you've worked for us, even though you haven't, but you've been here so much. Mario Ochoa, who has his own PR firm, Sammis-Ochoa, and every time we talk, things are just bigger and better for you guys.
Yeah, things are going great. Tanya and I are really excited for the next couple of weeks. We got college football kicking off, and Tanya is a UT alum. I went to Incarnate Word, and so we just started our program 2 years ago, so getting ready to root them on. Unlike Sylvia, though, we're still waiting for our vacation. So we got an event happening in Dallas late September. It's called Visions Women's Expo. It's the Southwest's largest fashion, health, and beauty expo. And right after that, Tanya begins work on the AT&T Championship, which is the senior PGA or the Champions Tour stop here in San Antonio. So I think sometime between now and 2014, we might get a vacation. So things are good.
When you're self-employed, who do you go to, right? Who do you ask for?
We're at the top. That's what we always talk about. You're at the top of the food chain, so get used to it.
All right. We were talking last hour about memorials and monuments. They've had to postpone the dedication of the Martin Luther King Memorial for this weekend because of Hurricane Irene. They're going to reschedule that for next month or the month after. In the meantime, we're a couple of weeks away from the dedication of the 9/11 memorial site in Lower Manhattan. When I look at the Martin Luther King monument, I don't know if you've all had a chance to see pictures of it. It's very, to me, it's just very apropos. It's just perfectly in scale. Here's a picture of it if you want to have a look at what it looks like. But when I read the description and I look at the pictures of what they've built at Ground Zero, I feel like they're missing something. They've captured the solemnity. A great loss of life took place, but I don't see anything about defiance and standing up and resilience, and it looks almost as if the monument is humble or has humility about what was done to us.
I want to address this. I was listening to you in the last hour, and the way you were describing what you want to see at Ground Zero is almost akin to a giant concrete middle finger to terrorists. I've been out to Ground Zero several times over the last 4 or 5 years, and I feel from the designs that I've seen, I haven't been out there since construction actually started, but I was there to see the conceptuals. It is hallowed ground, and there's a giant reverence within the community for that space. And I think one of the things that has been done very well in the design is that it respects the memory, and that's one of the things. Whether or not we defy what terrorism stands for and what they did, I think you still have to have a respect, and building 2 skyscrapers that are going to cost in excess of $2 to $3 billion to get done just doesn't seem very responsible.
I actually want to see 2 middle fingers. Just to be clear.
Double-handed.
You know, I think the design was done respectfully. They are going to build the Freedom Tower, which in scope is not going to be as large as the World Trade Center was. However, it still allows for a memorial to be installed where people can come and pay their respects to the fallen emergency workers, citizens, and people in the New York community. So I think
I hear what you're saying,
very
but
well
again,
done.
to me, when you are responding and rebuilding, the key is rebuilding. You put back what was taken.
You can't. Financially, it's not responsible, number one. I mean, each one of those towers, today's cost, are going to cost in excess of $1 billion, $1.5 billion to get done. That's just financially not responsible.
If that's the case, and I don't know that it is, but I still would like to see something, and I'm not an artist, I can't design it, that connotes and conveys that this country went after the people who attacked it. We did not accept this. We do not accept
We've
it.
been after the people that attacked us for 10 years.
Right. And
So-
we need to continue to be. But what I'm saying is, all I get out of this site is, this is so sad. We're so sorry this happened. That's not how we felt on 9/11. I don't think that's how most of us have felt since 9/11.
Well, I think it is sad, and I don't think anyone in the community out there feels as though they're sorry that it happened. I think New Yorkers, from the conversations that I've had with them, are very respectful, and they're not sorry. They're show strength through different means. It's a crazy scene out there when you go. And you go and you try to take a photo of Ground Zero, you'll have police officers and citizens push you away. They don't want you taking photographs, shooting video of anything. It's a hallowed ground.
I've not had that experience.
I've had that
several
experience
times,
where I've been told
it
to
is
stop snapping
hallowed
photos.
ground, and I don't think we're disputing that. I guess we're disputing whether or not this memorial captures everything that has transpired and what and all of what it means.
Very difficult thing to do. I mean, you're dealing with, honestly, two things. You're dealing with the memory of people who were lost and with the anger of what happened. Because when I hear you talk about what should be there and what should be done, I don't know a memorial that was created as in an angry, kind of rebellious, defiant way. I mean, I'm thinking about World War II. I'm thinking about, different other wars where there was mass graves. And when I've gone to Europe to see some of these places, and or even here in Texas, when you go to the Alamo, it is hallowed ground. There is sort of this solemnness to it, right? This holiness to it. But I don't know that I don't know that I get the anger. I don't know that I get that there should be something for that. Perhaps maybe that's still an ongoing thing. And maybe when it is done with Al-Qaeda and all these terrorists, there should be something. I don't know. It's difficult. What I'm acknowledging here is that you're asking for two things. You're asking for,
Oh, sure,
a
and
two-phase memorial,
there's no
basically.
question when you're doing this, there's no pleasing everybody, right, Joe? I mean, there's no way you're going to cover all the bases, and everybody is going to look at anything you design and say, this is perfect, this is just what we wanted. But to me, this is so heavy on the sobriety and the solemnity to the complete exclusion of anything else.
Well, and I think the problem that I'm seeing with this thing now is it's all being politicized. This whole memorial, the first responders not being allowed to go, no clergy members being allowed to go. I mean, we get to the point where we're so politically correct. I think we should have some sort of a sign that is a middle finger to these guys. So you can't do this to us and keep us down. We're going to respond. Now, I don't know what you do or how you do that, but I think you've got to remember the people that were there. To me, what they're doing in New York City with this memorial and who they are allowing to come and who they're not is just, to me, it's outrageous. The first responders, all of them who want to come, who had family members who were there, should be allowed to come in some form or fashion and do something. And I think it's just outrageous.
Going to be lifted later? Is this whole? I believe some of the initial stipulations for this is because they don't want it to be overrun.
I don't care what they want. They need to have it there because it's ridiculous. These
Well, no,
people,
I know.
these
These
people
people-
ran into that building when
Right,
other
right,
people
right.
were running out. These are the folks that are the true heroes of that day, and I think they're the ones that should be allowed to be there. Then keep the politicians and everybody else out of there.
I totally
Let
get what
them
you're saying
go.
with the politician stuff. I'm just trying to figure out why initially they did that because I know I know some people who were offended. Some first responders right here in the city who are kind of upset about that and can't understand it. And I'm trying to figure out. Nowhere have I read that they said, "Oh, we're going to phase this in because of overcrowding." I don't know if you've heard that, but you're right. It is very politicized. I hope that there are some reasons for this, like security reasons and other things like that. But it's just such a it's tough. I got to tell you.
I mean,
Jack,
we're the
weird
country that was
situation.
attacked. We're not the ones that should be worrying about giving offense in this
Right,
situation.
right.
And
I'm
we
sorry,
are,
but that,
or they
to
are.
put that at the top of the list of concerns is to me is to show that you don't get it, and you should be in charge of this because you don't get what happened. Yeah, I know you were there, and it's your city.
But every
but you don't get
facet
it.
of this memorial, from what I can remember, and you're dealing. Let's look at we're dealing with New York, which has every representation practically, and it's a huge melting pot. And initially, even for the designs and drawing this up was controversial. I mean, there was people fighting left and right about
Oh,
what
yeah.
this should
That's
look
why
like
it's
and how it
taken
should
so
be.
long.
And it has taken a very long time for this to happen. And I'm amazed that we've even gotten here. But it is. I mean, how do you even?
Pull out your headphones, guys, so we can grab a couple of calls on this real quick. We've been talking about this over the course of the last hour, now bringing it up with Gang of Four, the plans for the 9/11 memorial, and 599-5555 to be on with the gang. Mark is on KTSA. Mark, good morning. If the net result of each terrorist attack is a memorial where no more business is done and no more business can be transacted, and whatever activity was done there before now all ceases to ever be done again. That in a way is elevating or amplifying what the terrorists intended.
I think we're exaggerating the scope of this memorial. There's still going to be a 100-story skyscraper built on the site of Ground Zero just because we're not rebuilding the World Trade Center. I mean,
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But what I'm saying is that the theme of the memorial, I'm talking about the waterfalls into the ground
Sure.
thing. To me, it looks like this was just a tragedy. This was just something that befell us on a given day, like a fire or an earthquake, and nobody had
And
any
you feel
control
that it
over it.
validates those issues or these terrorists.
It
That
looks
it's
too.
basically
It looks too humble. It looks too soft and resigned to its fate. And people were fighting for their lives on that day, and we began fighting almost immediately against the forces that did this. Which is why, by the way, you didn't see planes flying into other skyscrapers in other U.S. cities in the days and weeks that followed, because we immediately started to roll up the people that did this.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing of that I know of, unless I've missed it. There's nothing of that in this memorial.
I think you could pay respects to the folks that lost their lives there and the families and still have some American
Absolutely.
bravado. I mean, when did it in this country become, a crime to show some swagger? Now, we don't show swagger anymore.
I'm pretty sure we created this way.
Well, we did create it, but we've lost it because we're so afraid to offend somebody. I mean, we're in this country that did it start where we're so sad and we're tiptoeing around and we're so afraid that we're going to offend someone that we just don't do. I just don't say that.
We're going to come back, talk some more about this and many other things with the gang. It is 10:24 on News Talk 550 KTSA. Here's Karen.
I can agree with that. We've gotten a little soft.
I can't stop talking.
1028 on News Talk 550 KTSA, the news and talk of San Antonio. Gang of Four is on for Friday morning. On our gang today, Mario Ochoa and Joe Reinagel and Sylvia Rincon, and you can be too at 599-5555 with a couple of weeks to go before the dedication of the 9/11 memorial in Lower Manhattan, talking about whether or not the memorial itself and the ceremonies organized around it really take into account all that happened and all that it means and all that it represents. Before we get back to that conversation, let's listen in to President Obama making a statement about Hurricane Irene.
We will continue to stay in close contact with them.
Statement from President Obama just released by the White House warning people in the path of Hurricane Irene. We'll continue our coverage of that. And don't forget, you can track Hurricane Irene and all the weather anytime at ktsa.com.